Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. Alright you guys, so Tarte has been killing it. I don't know what they're up to, but they have a ton of new releases. So some of the products we are going to be talking about and reviewing in today's video are the new Mini Jewel palette, the new Tarte tubing mascara, the new Maracuja highlighter stick, the new Shape Tape Glow bronzer, the new Sugar Rush eye smoothies, and I have a few other goodies that are semi-new, some not so new, so it's pretty much going to be a full face of Tarte today. I think I am most excited about the tubing mascara, the eyeshadow palette, and the new bronzer. So if you're excited to see how these products perform on my 30+ oily dehydrated acne-prone skin, don't forget to hit the like button, the notification bell, and let's get started right now. Alright you guys, I'm super excited, so we're going to dive right in. We have a ton of products to get through. So the only makeup I have done so far are my brows, and what I use for my brows are one of my favorite brow pencils. This is the Tarte Sketch and Set. So it has a dual side. On one side it has a brow pencil, and on the other side it has a brow mascara. Now for me, finding the right shade for a brow pencil and brow mascara can be pretty difficult because I need something cool toned that isn't too light but too deep either. So I actually use a combination of two different shades. The first shade is called Ash Blonde and the second shade is called Medium Cool Brown. So this is Ash Blonde and the other shade is the Medium Cool Brown. Now quick disclaimer, this brow pencil is not super creamy. It definitely is a little bit harder and more on the waxy side. I personally like that formula. I know a lot of folks don't, so I just wanted to mention what the consistency is like. So let's start with the Maracuja Juicy Glow Stick. Now you might be wondering why I'm starting off with the Juicy Glow Stick. Well, that's because this stick you are supposed to be able to use all over the face, of course, as a highlighter, but also as an under eye brightener. Now, ironically enough, I just decided to pick up and test out the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite under eye products, and I use the shade Fair Light. Now, I understand these two products are not the same, they are not marketed the same, but because the Becca does have a brightening under eye effect, I just want to see if this highlighter stick can do somewhat of the same effect. Now, the packaging is almost identical to the Juicy Lippies, so once you pop off the top, there's a click pen at the bottom. So I'm just going to swipe a couple of dabs on the under eyes here. So hopefully you can see the product underneath my right eye. Now this texture, it is not dewy or sticky or anything like that. In fact, it quite dries down. So if you have oily skin, this might be a texture that you enjoy. Alright, well that blended out very quick and easy. There's no visible glitter, and I honestly was expecting it to have a more glowy, luminous effect underneath the eyes, and I thought it was going to be too much, but it looks quite nice so far. Alright, let's do the other eye. Yeah, this definitely does not have coverage like the Becca under eye, which I wasn't expecting it to. But as I just mentioned, I thought it was going to look, I don't want to say glittery, but almost like that shimmery highlight effect underneath the eyes. But no, it actually does look like it has a slight brightening effect. So I'm not really sure if there is going to be a difference, especially once I go in with concealer. But this is what the under eyes are looking like with just the glow stick. For foundation, going in with one of my favorites, this is the Tarte Hydroflex Serum Foundation in the shade 12B. So funny enough, you guys, I actually find that the shade 14B is my exact shade match, but I cannot find the bottle anywhere. I don't know what happened to it. So this is going to be a little bit light for my skin, but we'll be using a bronzer in a minute. This is such a nice foundation. It definitely has more coverage than a traditional skin tint, and it sits so nice on my oily dehydrated skin. Alright, the sun is still down, so it's still looking a little blue in the monitor, but as you can tell, it's about one shade too light for me. So in the winter, I do find 12B works beautifully, but definitely need to find that shade 14B. Alright, next I have to go in with one of my favorite concealers of all time, not just from Tarte. This is the Tarte Ultra Creamy. Now, I personally never really enjoyed the original Shape Tape, but this creamy Shape Tape is one of my holy grails. So I actually wipe off the doe foot completely and just apply whatever is left. And I typically don't take my concealer all the way up underneath the under eyes because that's where I get creasing. But I do get quite a bit of redness and discoloration in that area. So it might look like I'm applying quite a bit of product, but the doe foot is completely wiped off. All right, you know those days that you just want to take your time, do your makeup, have some me time. I don't know what it is, but today I'm just kind of whacking it on and moving on to the next product. This is just such a beautiful concealer. I don't find it sits in any of my fine lines. It doesn't emphasize any of my dry patches. It's not a cakey concealer. I just cannot say enough good things about it. I always feel like it probably startles people when I zoom in this closely and don't give you a warning, so sorry. Bam, here I am, but I did want to zoom in closely. That way you can see what my skin is looking like with the foundation and the new highlight stick underneath the eyes. So what do you guys think? I actually really like how this highlighter stick is sitting underneath the eyes. I think I still prefer the Becca under eye brightening just because it has a little bit of a pink undertone to do a little bit of correcting. But as far as a brightening effect, I think it looks pretty good so far. All right, no setting powder on the skin because I have another cream product I want to go in with. This is the new Tarte Man Eater Blush and Glow in the shade Pink. This is such a beautiful formula, you guys. I know I just reviewed the e.l.f. Putty Luminous Blushes, and I do like those as well. This gives a little bit more of a dewy effect, but I find there's enough pigment that it lasts all day. So I like to swatch a little bit out on the back of my hand using the e.l.f. Putty Blush Brush. This is a wonderful blush brush for any sort of creams or balms. And I do find a little bit goes quite a long way. You guys know me, I like to work in sections and kind of layer up rather than go in with too much product. I just love this shade. I feel like the shade Pink would look great on so many different skin tones because it's not too light. You know how some cool bubblegum pinks, not everyone likes that type of pink. This is just a solid classic. All right, so we are doing things a little bit backwards today. Typically, I do my bronzer first, but because the bronzer is a powder and the blush was a cream, that's why we're working in this order today. Next up, the new Tarte Shape Tape Glow Bronzer. Okay, we need to talk about these bronzers from Tarte for a minute. Has nothing to deal with the formula. Usually Tarte's powder formulas in any type of product are amazing, but it has to deal with the actual product itself. So I had noticed on QVC, Tarte had released a new Shape Tape Glow Bronzer in 2 shades. Now the way those bronzers were described, they were a luminous, not a matte formula. Now I decided to pass on the luminous Shape Tape bronzers just because I have purchased so many bronzers recently and most of them are luminous. So I was looking for a new matte but not flat bronzer, which this one is described as. But funny enough, when I was at Ulta, I just purchased this bronzer today. Now on the back, it says Sculpt and Glow, a baked cool tone powder, which you guys know I love my cool tones and they are super rare, especially for bronzers. So at first I thought that this bronzer was the same as the 2 new luminous bronzers that are on QVC and now on Tarte's website and Ulta, I believe, but this is a different bronzer. So I am going to attempt to link this cool tone matte bronzer below, but just know it might actually not even be released yet. I might just have been lucky and got my hands on it at Ulta early, but just wanted to mention they have a new matte, not flat bronzer and 2 luminous bronzers. This is the new matte one. So this is what the product looks like in the pan. Now I must say, you guys, this looks like a beautiful cool tone bronzer. I am so excited because, as I mentioned, most bronzers lean super warm, if not orange, so this looks like it's going to be a beautiful cool tone. Now real quick, Tarte also has a Shape Tape Luminous Setting Powder. Now this has been out for I believe 1 or 2 years now. Spoiler alert, this is a beautiful setting powder if you want a little bit of luminosity without any glitter. So here is the bronzer and here is the setting powder in the shade Starlit. So can you see that beautiful luminosity? Now this is a heavy swatch, so you of course wouldn't use this much if you are using it as a setting powder, but once you blend it out on the skin, it just looks so beautiful. And lastly, you guys, I'm so excited. This bronzer shade looks like it's going to be perfect. All right, so I don't want to clip my bangs back because when I do that, I find they stay in that position all day. So I'm going to be dipping into the bronzer on my table, and the brush I'm going to use today is a Morphe M530. So you guys, I'm kind of bummed because I feel like I'm going to want to pick up a backup of this bronzer just because, as I keep mentioning, cool tones are so rare, but I still can't find it on the Ulta website. I just looked and I already have the product in my hand because it was out today on the table, but it's not on the website. If any of you guys know where to find this bronzer online, definitely let me know because I definitely want a backup, and I'm assuming some of you may want to pick this up, so let me know if you have any inside details. Oh yeah, this is a beautiful cool tone bronzer. Now I'm looking at my skin in real life, and it definitely is a matte, not flat formula, which is exactly the type of formula that I prefer for bronzers, so super excited. All right, one final look at the forehead before the bangs are going back down. All right, beautiful on the forehead. Next, let's see how this looks on the cheekbones. Picking up a little bit of product to start off with. Now, the one thing I love about this packaging is that when you tap the product on the brush, you can then swirl on the lid right here. Now, I will say it is bulky packaging and it definitely doesn't feel luxe, but I do like the fact that you can swirl your brush in the cap. All right, so let's see how this glow bronzer looks on the cheekbones. Oh, I am definitely going to have to get a backup of this, you guys. Now I'm hoping that they even have an extra one at Ulta, because if it's not sold online, where are you supposed to get this product? Now I did message Tarte on Instagram, but unfortunately they haven't responded, so we'll see. All right, you guys, so I can already tell you this is their beautiful Amazonian clay formula, so I'm almost positive that this bronzer will last all day on the skin. This formula at least lasts all day on my skin anyway. This is the perfect shade for someone that has a cool undertone. And the nice thing is there's still a little bit of warmth there, so it's not like a pure gray cool tone, but there's also a little bit of luminosity, so it's definitely not a flat matte. I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but this might be my new favorite powder bronzer. All right, I could sit here all day and apply that bronzer, but next let's move on to the setting powder. So my opinion and preference for these Luminous Shape Tape setting powders is I don't recommend them underneath the eyes and in the T-zone, just because it does have that luminous effect. So I really like to focus this on the outer portions of the skin. Taking a Morphe M405, I'm just going to kind of stamp and sweep this across the forehead. Oh yeah, this formula over the bronzer gives it just a little bit of radiance, looking beautiful. Now this shade has kind of like a champagne undertone. I really want to go back and get the shade that leans a little bit more on the cool tone side. Now this shade does work beautifully, but I just want to try the other one. Now I know a lot of people are probably screaming through their screen right now, because when most folks use a setting powder, they usually do a buffing or a sweeping motion. But the issue I have is that I have breakouts and I typically like to use a little bit of concealer to spot conceal. So if I go in with a brush and just start doing a ton of buffing, then I have to redo it. So I understand that technique probably works best for most, but I do find a stamping motion works fine with this powder. All right, love these powders so much. I just feel like they give such a beautiful radiance to the skin. So next, let's go back to the new Maracuja highlighter stick. All right, clickety click, back to the glow stick. That rhymed, I actually didn't mean to. All right, going to swipe a little bit across the bridge of the nose. Ooh, that's pretty. All right, let me just do a little bit of tapping. All right, well that looks beautiful on the bridge of the nose. The shade is perfect, once again in Pearlescent Glow. So next let's apply a little bit to the cheekbones. I'm tapping instead of swiping just in case. Using my finger to blend out. That is beautiful, you guys. It gives such a natural lit from within glow, and I'm really excited. I was expecting this product to remove the makeup underneath, but even going directly on the skin, I'm not finding it's removing anything underneath. I do think I would stamp on the cheekbones though, instead of swiping like I did on the nose, just in case. I really like the texture of this highlighter. All right, I think that this is a beautiful little highlight stick. To be honest, I didn't have the highest expectations for this, but not only do I like the shade and how it gives you that lit from within radiance, but I really like the texture and finish of this stick. This would be a great highlighter to take, especially if you are going to be traveling. All right, that looks beautiful. What do you guys think about this highlighter stick? I really hope this and the bronzer is going to be in their permanent line, but we'll see. Now, unfortunately, my local Ulta didn't have any of the new Juicy Lippies to try, so I'm going to go in with one of my favorite lip glosses. This was from that Glamazon collection. I don't think there's multiple shades. I think this was the only one, but I love this formula, love the shade. How many times can I say love in this video? I don't know, you guys. Tarte has just been killing it lately. All right, now for the fun part, you guys. Next, let's move on to the eyes. So I have lots of good stuff for you guys. So we're going to get into the primer and the new tubing mascara in a second. But I'm kind of in a predicament because Tarte has this new jewel palette, which I will swatch for you. And then their Sugar Rush line has these new eye smoothies. And I picked up the shade Mauve, so which one are we going to try today? Let's do this. Let's play with the eyeshadow palette, and I will use this in another video coming up if you guys want to see it. All right, so this is the actual size of the new Tartelette Jewel palette, and I will put the price up on the screen. So the packaging flips open. It does have a mirror on the bottom here. So it's a nice neutral mini palette. So here are what these 6 shades look like swatched out. So just to keep the video moving quickly, I think what I'm going to do is reference shade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So shade 1 is Sparkle, shade 2 is Bauble, shade 3 is Precious, shade 4 is Brilliant, shade 5 is Stacked, and shade 6 is Lavish. All right, guys, I am so excited to see how this palette performs. Now, I'm not sure how the deepest shade looked on camera, and it is a brown, but it leans a little bit more on the cool tone red side. So I like that because it's not just your traditional everyday brown. I really like the red tone that this has. So you guys, I did not tap off my brush. I don't like to unless I have to. And I'm not seeing any fallout, so this is definitely a very silky formula. It's always exciting when you don't get fallout, you know? All right, I just dipped into shade 5 to smoke out the lower lash line. So you guys, a little bit of pigment is going a very long way, and this formula is definitely surpassing my expectations. I don't know what I was expecting, but I just never remembered Tarte's formula for their shadows being phenomenal, but they are blending out like absolute butter. All right, next I want to dip into the deeper shade and get as close to the lash line as possible. I cannot believe how much this pigment is spreading. I am barely dipping in with my brush and it just keeps spreading and spreading. This is a Shop Miss A brush, and this is literally one of my favorite eye brushes for doing just this. All right, I am loving how this eye look is coming together so far, and I don't even have all of the eyeshadow complete yet. So next, I am dying to dip into this shimmer right here, which was shade number 3. You know, there's just something about using your finger with shimmer shades. It just picks it up so much better. This is so pretty. This is definitely going to be one of my everyday palettes. It's just so easy to use. You know, you're not overwhelmed with 50 different shades to choose from. The color story matches really well. and you can go in with a more natural look, or you can really glam it up. So there's a lot of options with this little palette. All right, guys, so the last thing I did off camera was I just took a little bit of this pink shade in the crease, and I do feel like this shade is definitely necessary in the palette because it really blended all of those shades together, and it's the perfect depth of pink. Oh, and the only other thing I did was I took shade number 1, which is Sparkle. Now, I would imagine this is probably an inner corner or brow bone highlight shade. Now, a lot of the times I have issues with these shades because I am so fair. A lot of inner corner highlight shades just simply do not show up on me. This one definitely does, so that is exciting. I will take you guys outside in just a moment here and show you what the final look looks like. All right, so love this little jewel palette. Next, we are going to move on to the mascara application. However, I did want to quickly show you what the new Sugar Rush Eye Smoothie Cream Shadow looks like in the shade Mauve. And this is what it looks like swatched out. So hopefully you can tell they have a beautiful sheen. Once again, no glitter. And the formula did feel very smooth. No chunks of shimmer or anything. All right, we are super zoomed in right now because next we are moving on to the new Tartelette Tubing Mascara. Now, I actually have a confession to make. I have never tried a true tubing mascara. I know, believe it or not. Now, I know Maybelline makes that Sky High mascara, which I have tried, but I don't believe that's a true tubing mascara in the sense where it creates tubes around your lashes. Now, the one thing I have heard is that if your lashes fall out pretty easily, or even just in general, they do recommend going in with a lash primer first. So I've actually been using a lash serum for a couple of months now, and I feel like my lashes are finally starting to get pretty long. So I am going to be using a primer in today's video just because I don't want to lose my lashes. So before we go in with the Tartelette Tubing Mascara, I am going to go in with the IT Cosmetics Tightline 3-in-1 Primer Mascara. So we are actually zoomed in as far as my camera will go because I wanted to show you what my lashes look like with nothing on them. I don't even have them curled. So I do feel like from using the lash primer, my lashes end at about here now. So they are getting decently long, but they are pretty sparse. So you can see my lashes, but they're not the longest, not the shortest, kind of somewhere in the middle. So I'm not going to apply a ton of this IT Cosmetics 3-in-1 primer. My understanding is that if you go in with a few different coats, it can actually act as a mascara, but I'm just going to go in with a light layer as if it was a primer. You guys, look how little this brush is. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a brush this little. All right, so let me apply a little bit of this primer. Can you guys even see? And I'm really just focusing this at the roots. This product probably really would act also as a tight line eyeliner, but I'm not trying to use it like that today. I'm trying to go in with as minimal product as possible. You know, I wish all mascaras had a wand like this, honestly. This is making it so easy to grip every lash. All right, it is Tartelette tubing time. So once again, what the lashes are looking like with just the primer. So it didn't add a ton of product or anything, just coated them a bit. So I must say, this Tartelette tubing mascara, it feels super luxe, very heavy, probably the most luxe mascara I've actually ever held in my hands. So let me show you what the wand looks like. So it has very small bristles. They definitely do not protrude out far. Now there is a little bit of excess product right here that I will scrape off upon application. All right, let's do the left eye first. I am actually pretty, what I should say is I take my time when I apply mascara. I really make sure I grip at the base and pull up. The one thing is though, from using a lash serum, my lashes are starting to kind of grow all over the place, so it's kind of funny now seeing them grow this way, that way. I keep looking in the monitor, you guys, because I want to make sure you can see. And I always use the tip of the wand for the outer corner. Alright guys, so mascara on the top, only on this eye, nothing on this eye. I feel like my left eye looks so much bigger. I can't wait to put it on the bottom. Now I actually usually do my bottom lashes first, but I just forgot. So, oh well, we'll do the top first today. Now that was one coat on the left eye. Going to do the same thing on the right. Just checking, I wanted to make sure I was still in focus. This is very easy and quick to put on too. Alright, that was one coat of mascara to both of the upper lashes. I'm going to do the lower lashes next, and then I will look up so you can see what everything looks like. Now I am a little bit more sparse with my lower lashes. I don't go in crazy, I just do a little bit. I'm sorry, I know this is probably difficult for you guys to see. Kind of use the tip of the brush on the lower lashes more than anything. So what I am noticing on application so far is that this is a drier mascara in my opinion. Nothing like the Essence Lash Princess, which is one of my other favorites. And I would imagine that this mascara would probably work best without letting the coats in between dry. Am I the only one that uses my right hand for my right lashes and left for left? Just cannot do the whole reach around thing. Not to give it away, you guys, but this is looking pretty good. Alright, mascara is on. Let me take you outside so you can see what everything is looking like in natural daylight. Hi you guys, so it's actually been a couple of hours, so if my skin is looking a little bit shiny right now, that is why. So let me show you up close what my skin is looking like, and then we will go over all the details about these products. But first, let me show you those swatches. So the very top two swatches, kind of in between my first finger and middle finger, is the bronzer, and then right next to it is that Shape Tape powder. So that's on the top. The bottom 6 swatches are from the Jewel eyeshadow palette. And then the final swatch right here is that new Smoothie in the shade Mauve. Alright, so first, why don't you take a look at my lashes since I applied that new tubing mascara a couple of hours ago. So first thing I'm noticing, I don't see any smudging or any flakes underneath the eyes. Whew, I have a piece of hair right in my face. Now the next thing I'm noticing, look at that volume and length. Now I mentioned that I am using a lash serum. So yes, my eyelashes are a little bit longer than usual, but they are not this long. So I feel like that mascara looks incredible. But what do you guys think? So as far as my final thoughts, you guys, this was an amazing Tarte haul. I feel like Tarte had a slam dunk product after product. I don't think there was anything I used today that I didn't absolutely love. The bronzer and blush is definitely still holding on strong. Now I know it hasn't been a full day or anything, but these powders typically last all day on me. And then as far as that new highlight stick, you guys, that is so pretty. It gives you this natural lit from within radiance. I really like it. What do you guys think? Also, the eyeshadow palette, that Jewel palette was only $21. I know it's a smaller size, but that is definitely going to be one of my daily go-to palettes. I love the color story. I feel like the eyeshadows blended out very smooth, so I was very impressed for using Tarte eyeshadows for not the first time, but for not using them regularly. The lip gloss is great. I did have to reapply that, of course, since lip glosses don't last that long, but yeah, everything I used today, you guys, I absolutely loved. So let's see, the only other thing I can think of is if you are interested in that Glow Matte Bronzer, I really hope you're able to find it in store at Ulta, since that's where I found mine. I think I'm going to pick up a backup. I just love the shade it provides, a nice true cool tone with a little bit of warmth to it. Alright you guys, well I feel like Tarte just really nailed it, hit it out of the ballpark. All the products I tested out today were absolutely beautiful. So now I want to hear from all of you guys down below. Have you picked up any of these products? Have you tested them out? Let us know all of your thoughts down below. And also let me know what was your favorite product I tested out today. Alright you guys, well I'd say that was a successful haul. I do hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye guys!